Hello guys, how are you all? So in this lecture video, we are going to discuss the methods of differentiation part 3. So in previous lectures, part 1 and part 2, I discussed the different methods of differentiation like chain rule and also product rule, quotient rule, and also problems based on all those things. And now we are going to discuss derivative of composite functions and inverse of a function. So before we start with the class, I have a small announcement. So Unacademy Prodigy Talent Reward Examination is conducted on 23rd January 2022 10 a.m. onwards. You have a chance to win education for life through this test. So this is for classes 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, IIT JEE and NEET UG. So there will be exciting scholarships and rewards. You can compete at an all India level for this. And you have exciting rewards in every test. That you can top the test on 29th January and 13th February and you can stand a chance to win education for life. So rank 1, you'll be getting a MacBook Air. Rank 2 to 3, you'll get Apple iPhone. Rank 4 to 5, you'll get Apple iPod. Rank 6 to 40, Amazon Echo Dot. And rank 41 to 100, you can get Amazon vouchers. So the scholarship slabs are like this. Rank 1 to 100 will get 100%. 11 to 25 will get 75%. 26 to 100 will get 50%. And 101 to 200 will get 25%. And 201 to 500 will get 15%. And we also have the Unacademy Champs 2.0 test. So this is going to be conducted on January 2nd, 2 p.m. It's a 3-hour duration. And this will be your race towards the top ranks. Just like Amaya Singhal, last year he got All India rank 1. He was a part of this Unacademy Champs program. So what do we get in this program? We'll basically see. So you'll be getting a peer group of students and you'll be getting mentorship sessions with top educators. Also, you'll have a chance to get your college expense covered by Unacademy. So you can enroll by using my code EVK Live for this. And let me tell you about the IIT JEE Combat. Every Sunday we conduct this at around 11 a.m. So we'll be having a total of 21 questions and 60 minutes test. So you can practice IIT JEE quality questions and based on the syllabus of IIT JEE mains and advanced recent syllabus. So you'll be having questions and video solutions by top educators, and you'll also have a separate test for 11th, 12th, and 13th grades, that is repeaters. And you can get a real-time All India rank. And for the top 25 rankers, we are also giving a merit certificate. Apart from that, you have a scholarship of around 4 crore. So rank 1 will get gold medal plus merit certificate and 100% scholarship. Rank 2 will get silver medal, merit certificate and 100% scholarship. Rank 3 will get a bronze medal, merit certificate and 100% scholarship. And there are many more scholarships. You can enroll using my code EVK Live for this also. And finally, we have an All India mock test series for JEE 2022 in the pattern of JEE Main covering PCM. So it is starting from 25th December. It's already started and it's going on. The time is 2 to 5. It's an All India level test for JEE Mains preparation and the questions are curated by top educators. And after the test, you can also get a video solution for every question. Also, you'll be given detailed analysis of the test with your areas of strength and improvement. And you can see that 200 learners can get up to 100% scholarship. So again, for this also you can enroll with my code EVK Live. Right, now let us proceed into our topic. So these are the topics which I already finished in the earlier classes. So let me just quickly run through these slides. Yeah, now let me do derivatives of, you can say derivative of composite function and inverse of a function together. So about a composite function, I already discussed in the previous class also, you have done using chain rule. So I'll just quickly revise. So if y is equal to some f of g of x, it is a composition of two functions. What is dy by dx? So in this case, dy by dx will be equal to, first we'll write derivative of outer function f, that is f dash of g of x. And after that, we'll write the derivative of the inside function g of x, which will be g dash of x. That is how you differentiate a composition of two functions. Similarly, if it's a composition of three functions, let's say, for example, you have a composition of the functions f of g of h of x. So if you have to write the derivative, what is dy by dx? We'll start differentiating from the outer one. So first you differentiate f, you will get f dash, write the value which is inside as it is. Then you differentiate the function g, you write g dash, write the value inside as it is. Finally, differentiate h of x, you will get h dash of x. So this is a chain rule by which we find the derivative of composite function. So this was already done in the earlier classes. I just wrote it again. Now let me consider how to find the derivative of inverse function. Like for example, I want to find the derivative of inverse of a function. So let us suppose a function g of x is equal to f inverse of x. So the function g is the inverse of f. In that case, it is equivalent to writing f of g of x equal to x. So if the inverse of g is f, the composition of f and g will give you x, an identity function. So now you can differentiate this and say derivative of f will be f dash of g of x multiplied with derivative of g of x will be g dash x is equal to 1. So this is one result that you can remember. And another result that you can do is you can also say that if g is f inverse, you can also write if f of g of x is x, you can also say if g is f inverse also implies f is g inverse. That is f of x equal to g inverse x. So based on the question, you can use any one of them. So if it is like this, g of f of x will be equal to x. So if you now differentiate this, it will give you g dash of f of x into derivative of f of x is again f dash x is equal to 1. So either you can use this result or use this result when it is given that either g is the inverse of f or f is the inverse of g. Both are equally valid. Even if they mention g is f inverse, also we can say f will be g inverse at the same time. So either you can use this result or the result which I got earlier for finding derivative for composite functions. Now let us take up a few problems and do it. So let us take up the first question. If f of 0 is 0, f dash of 0 is 2, then the derivative of, we have to find out the derivative of y equal to f of f of f of f of x at x equal to 0 is. So you have 3 f's, composition of 4 f's here. So totally 4 f's. And the options are say 2, 8, 16 and 4. So option C is 16 and option D is 4. So we will see how to find the derivative of this. It's quite simple. So when you write y equal to f of f of f of f of x, let us close all brackets. So dy by dx will be equal to, you start writing the derivative from the outer f. So first you will write f dash, inside functions will remain the same. That is f of f of f of x, that will remain the same. After that you differentiate this f, you will get f dash, inside f will remain the same. Multiplied with, then write the derivative of this f, you will get f dash of f of x. And finally, into derivative of this f will be f dash x. So since you want derivative at 0, put x equal to 0 in this. So you can say dy by dx at x equal to 0 if you want. This is equal to f dash of f of f of f of 0. So wherever x is there, you have put 0. Into f dash of, you have f of 0. 3 f's are there. In the next case, you had f dash of f of 0. So only 2 f's here. So what is the next one? It was f dash of f of 0. F dash of f of 0. And the last one is f dash of 0. That was just like this. So now you can see that already they have given us f of 0 is 2. F of 0 is 0 and f dash of 0 is 2. So if you put f of 0 as 0, it will become f dash of f of 0 into f dash of f of 0 is again 0. Again f dash of 0 into f dash of 0 is given as 2. So this is same as f dash of, what is f of 0? Again 0. So you'll again get f of 0 here into f dash of, again f of 0, you can write 0. And f dash of 0 is already, f dash of f of 0 is 0. So this is again 2. So in the next step, you can write into 2 into 2. So this is again f dash of f of 0 is 0. This f dash of 0 is 2. And again, this f dash of 0 will also be 2. So you keep on writing that and you can get 2 into 2 into 2 4 times. So 2 power 4, 16 is the answer. So the correct answer is therefore choice C. So it's a composition of 4 functions, whether it is 2 or 3 or 4 functions, the rule will work the same way. So what is the basic rule? Start from the outer function and do the derivative till you exhaust till the inner function. So now let me take up another question based on derivative of inverse function. Let g of x be the inverse of an invertible function f of x. Of an invertible function f of x. Which is differentiable at x equal to c. Which is differentiable at x equal to c. Then g dash of f of c is equal to, the options are 1 by f dash of c. Sorry, I'll make the first option. Okay. 1 by f dash of c, f dash of c, then f of c, and none of these. So that's fine. So if the function g is the inverse of an invertible function called f, which is differentiable at c, what is g dash of f of c? So when g is the inverse of f, as I told you, either you can write g of f of x equal to x. You can also write f of g of x equal to x. Both are equally valid here. So if you want to write here f of c inside and you want g dash of f of c, we would prefer this. If you differentiate this, you'll get g dash of f of x into f dash x is equal to 1. Now you put x equal to c in this, it will give you g dash of f of c multiplied with f dash of c equal to 1. So you can now therefore say that what is g dash of f of c? Write f dash of c on the other side, 1 by f dash of c. So this is the required answer. So which is the correct option here? A is the correct option. So you can say choice A is the correct answer. So based on the question, we can even use the second one, but for this question, the first one is better. Right, now let us do the next question. This is a previous JE question based on this concept. If f of x is equal to x plus tan x and f is the inverse of g, f is the inverse of g, then g dash of x equals, let me give the options, 1 by 1 plus g of x minus x whole square. The second one, 1 by 2 minus g of x minus x whole square. The third option, 1 by 2 plus g of x minus x whole square. And finally, option D is none of these. Option D is nothing but none of these. So let's do this question. It's a previous JE advanced question. So we have f of x equal to x plus tan x and f is the inverse of g. So f is g inverse is given. That means you can say that f of x is g inverse x, which also means that g of f of x is equal to x. G of f of x is equal to x. So now you want to find g dash x here. You want to find g dash x here. So what do we do here? So if you want g dash, differentiate this, you'll get g dash of f of x into f dash x is equal to 1. And you already know that f of x is x plus tan x. So from here you can write down g dash of f of x equal to 1 by f dash x. So, but you wanted actually just g dash of x. So is this better or the other way it is better? Let us check. So I wrote g of f of x is x. What is the other possibility? I can also write f of g of x is x. I think for this question, this is better. So instead of this one, we can prefer this. So when you differentiate, you will get f dash of g of x into g dash of x is equal to 1. This is better for this particular problem. So therefore, what is g dash of x? 1 by f dash of g of x. So both will work depending on the question. You'd have to change the method. So I tried this, but this is better. So I changed it. So then if I ask you what is f dash of g of x, first I should find f dash x using this. So we know that f dash x is equal to derivative of x is 1 and derivative of tan is secant square. So it is 1 plus secant square. So that means if I want f dash of g of x, if I want f dash of g of x, I have to just replace x with g of x. It will become 1 plus secant square of g of x. Then how to find secant square g of x we'll see. And we have g dash x is 1 by f dash of g of x. So g dash x is equal to 1 by f dash of g of x means 1 plus secant square of g of x. Now let's see how to simplify this. So since you already know that f of g of x is x, so we know that f of g of x is x here. What was f given as x plus tan x? So f of g of x means g of x plus tan g of x, that is equal to x. So from here you can see that the value of tan of g of x can be written as x minus g of x. And you got the answer in secant square. So this secant square can be written as 1 plus tan square theta. So 1 plus tan square g of x. So we therefore get 1 by 2 plus what is tan of g of x from here? X minus g of x. So either you can write, because square is there, we can either write x minus g of x whole square. Or since there is a square, you can even change and write the answer as 1 by 2 plus. It's equivalent to writing g of x minus x whole square because there is a power 2 here. Whether you write x minus g of x or g of x minus x, there is a minus sign difference on squaring, minus sign gets removed. So this is the correct answer. So we can say therefore choice C will be the correct answer. So this kind of questions are usually asked in the JEE Main and Advanced. They're important questions. Now let us take up the next question. Let g of x be the inverse of an invertible function. Let g of x be the inverse of an invertible function f of x, which is differentiable for all real x, which is differentiable for all real x, which is differentiable for all real x. So that is given. Then you have to find out g double dash of f double dash of x. So this question, let us do it without options. Options are not required. I'll do it directly. So if g of x is the inverse of an invertible function f of x, what is g double dash of f double dash of x? So you can start with g equal to f inverse. So g of x equal to f inverse x here. So f of g of x equal to x. So which is better? You want g double dash of f double dash of x. So this is better or writing the other way is better. Let us try the other way. F of g of x is x and also g of f of x is x. G of f of x equal to x. This notation would be better. So if you differentiate this now, you can say g will have a derivative g dash of f of x into derivative for f of x is f dash x is equal to 1. So from here you can say g dash of f of x is equal to 1 by f dash of x. So after you get that, if you differentiate again, you can write this as g double dash of f of x into derivative for f of x again equal to f dash x will be equal to 1 by x, you know, derivative is minus 1 by x square. So how do you write the derivative? So if it is of the form 1 by x, normally you can say this is same as f dash x power minus 1. So if it is x power n, what do you write as derivative nx power n minus 1? Using that, it will be minus 1 by f dash of x whole square multiplied with derivative of f dash x is again f double dash of x. F double dash of x. So from here you can get g double dash of f of x equal to minus of f double dash of x divided by f dash of x whole cube. So actually in the question, it should be only f of x inside. So then it works. So g double dash of f of x is what we have to find. So that answer is minus f double dash x by f dash of x whole cube. So this question is also quite simple. So let us do one more question. If g is the inverse function, g is the inverse function of f. So g is the inverse function of f and f dash x is equal to x plus just sin x. You need to find out what is g dash of x. So I'll just give you an option here. Cosecant of g of x, sine of g of x, minus cosecant of g of x, minus sine of g of x. So let's solve this and see. So g is the inverse of f. Again, you can say g of f of x is x. You can start with this. So when you differentiate this, what do you get? G dash of f of x into f dash x is equal to derivative of x will be 1. But f dash x is already given as sin x. So you can therefore say g dash of f of x is equal to 1 by f dash x. And what is the value of f dash x there? Sin x. So you can say 1 by sin x. So that is the value of g dash of f of x. But what is that you actually want to find? Only g dash x. You want to find only g dash x. So this is not working out to find g dash x. We have to again do a manipulation. So what if I consider the other way? Like instead of g of f of x, I can also write both are equally allowed as I told you earlier. If I consider this, it works better. So f dash of g of x into g dash x equal to 1. Then you can say that g dash of x will be equal to 1 by f dash of g of x. And since you already know that the function f dash x is sin x, so f dash of g of x will be 1 by sine of g of x. And the reciprocal of sine is cosecant, so you can write the answer as cosecant of g of x. So therefore, you can say choice A is the correct answer. So we can try either way for the question, whichever works better, we'll go with that. So first one didn't work, I tried with the second one, it worked. Right. So once we are done with this now, we can start our next topic, that is derivative of, let us start with derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. ITF I'll say, where ITF stands for inverse trigonometric functions like sine inverse, cos inverse, etc. Cos inverse, tan inverse, etc. So for this kind of functions, we'll first derive the differentiation formulas. After that, we'll go for the questions based on this. So let me derive the first result. If y is equal to sine inverse x, let us derive a differentiation formula. So before I do that, what is the domain of this function? Sine inverse x is defined when x is minus 1 to 1. Range we don't require. If you want, you can write it's minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. If required, we'll use it also. Let me write it anyway. So if you have to derive a differentiation formula for this, convert this into ordinary function, that is bring sine inverse to LHS, it becomes x equal to sine y. So whenever x is a function of y, instead of finding dy by dx, we would easily find dx by dy and take reciprocal. So let us write down dx by dy. The derivative of this is going to give you cos y. And after you get cos y, since you know that sine square y plus cos square y is 1, so you can say if sine y is x here, you can say x square plus cos square y is 1. So for cos square y, you will get an answer 1 minus x square. And you can see that minus pi by 2 is in first and fourth quadrant and cos is positive. So when you're writing the value of cos y there, you will actually get plus or minus root of 1 minus x square with plus or minus. But in this interval, cos has to be positive. Therefore, we will be taking a plus sign. Dx by dy equal to, will be taking a plus. We will not be taking a minus because in this interval, cos is positive. So you will be taking the value of cos y as root of 1 minus x square. So thereby dx by dy is equal to root of 1 minus x square. So what is the reciprocal of this? The reciprocal of this dy by dx is equal to 1 by root of 1 minus x square. And remember, the function was defined even at 1 and minus 1, whereas for x equal to 1 and minus 1, dy by dx is not defined. For x equal to 1 and minus 1, dy by dx is not defined. So here you have to mention x belongs to open interval minus 1 to 1. So the function is defined in minus 1 to 1 closed, but the derivative is defined only in minus 1 to 1 open interval. So we can conclude the formula as d by dx of sine inverse x, because y is sine inverse, equal to 1 divided by square root of 1 minus x square. So just in the same manner, you can also derive the derivative of all the other inverse trigonometric functions also. So let me now take up the next function, y equal to cos inverse of x. So again, you know that for this function, x belongs to minus 1 to 1 is the domain, and y belongs to 0 to pi is the codomain, which covers first and second quadrant. So convert this into ordinary function, you'll get x equal to cos y. And to find dy by dx, we'll first find dx by dy. So dx by dy is equal to cos y will have a derivative minus sin y. And again, you can use the same identity that cos square y plus sin square y has to be 1. So therefore, you can say sin square y is equal to 1 minus cos square y means 1 minus x square. So when you're writing the value of sin y, you know that in first and second quadrant, sin is positive. So you'll write only plus because of this interval. Sin should be positive. Sin y must be greater than 0. So you cannot take a negative sign, you'll take a positive sign. So writing that here, you already had a minus, then root 1 minus x square, that is dx by dy. So dy by dx is therefore minus 1 by root of 1 minus x square. So you can clearly see whatever answer you got in sine inverse, you got a similar answer but differing with it by a minus sign. So we can now write the conclusion that derivative for the function cos inverse x is equal to minus 1 divided by square root of 1 minus x square. So all the results which I am deriving now are standard results only. You need to remember them as formulae and use in the other questions. So now let me do it for the third function. If y is tan inverse x. So here you know that domain is all real numbers and range is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 for tan inverse function. So if you have to find the derivative again, write x equal to tan y. So then dx by dy equal to tan y will have a derivative secant square y. So write secant square y. And you can therefore say dy by dx is also equal to secant square y reciprocal. You have to write 1 by secant square y. And you know that secant square y can be written as 1 plus tan square y. There is no square root here. You'll get directly 1 plus tan square y. So that is 1 by 1 plus x square. So because of the square, there is no square root and all. We are getting a direct answer without using the interval itself. So for tan inverse function, the derivative for the function d by dx of tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square. So d by dx of tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square. Now let us find out the derivative for cot inverse x in the same manner. So for this function again, the domain is all real numbers and the range is open interval 0 to pi. So here also the method is the same. You can write x equal to cot y and differentiate with reference to y. Dx by dy is equal to cot will have a derivative minus cosecant square y. And after that, you know that cosecant square y can be written as 1 plus cot square y using the identities. There is no root anywhere, so there is no change further based on this interval. And then you can replace cot y with x, so minus of 1 plus x square, that is dx by dy. So this means dy by dx is going to be the reciprocal minus 1 by 1 plus x square. So therefore, the derivative formula for the function cot inverse x is giving you the answer as minus 1 divided by 1 plus x square. So this is the derivative formula for the function cot inverse of x. Now in the same manner, let us find out the derivative formula for the function cosecant inverse x first. And then we'll also find for secant inverse. So what is the domain? We'll write down first. It is minus infinity to minus 1. Union 1 to infinity. That is the interval for x. So open here at minus infinity, close at minus 1. Again close at 1, open at infinity. And the range is similar to sine inverse function. except that 0 is excluded because at that point the cosecant inverse function is not defined. Now again we do the same way, right? X equal to cosecant y, convert this inverse trigonometry function into ordinary function by bringing the inverse to the other side. Then dx by dy, when you write, you know the derivative of cosecant theta is minus cosecant theta cot theta. So minus cosecant y into cot y. So after you do this now, so you can also write cosecant y as x, of course, but how do you get the value of cot y? You know that cot square y equal to cosecant square y minus 1. So let us use this and write x square minus 1. And when I have the interval as minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, there are two cases. Like it can be first quadrant or fourth quadrant. If it's first quadrant, cot is positive, second quadrant, cot is negative. So you can have two cases. So you can take both plus or minus. So you have to actually take plus or minus. So when you write the answer here, you'll have plus or minus root x square minus 1. So overall, if you see the answer, minus into plus is minus, minus into minus is plus. So overall, the answer is 1 minus and 1 plus. So whether you write minus or plus, x root x square minus 1 or plus or minus x root x square minus 1, anyway, it is one and the same. So otherwise, what we can do, you can remove that plus or minus and also put a modulus for x. You can also put a modulus. So when you write the differentiation formula for dy by dx, it is minus 1 by mod x into under root of x square minus 1. There will be a minus sign. So what I will do, so in this minus sign, I won't make any change. This plus or minus, I'll club it with x and make it mod x. Because usually you know that when you take a positive interval for x, the corresponding y interval is also positive. You'll get a plus sign when you calculate here. And similarly for other case, you'll get a minus. So when you write the formula, also retain this minus. You can just say this plus or minus can be clubbed with x and put a mod x there. This will give you derivative for cosecant inverse x. The same way we can also derive a formula for secant inverse. So if it is y equal to secant inverse of x, so again you know that x belongs to same interval as you wrote earlier, minus infinity to minus 1 union 1 to infinity. That is the domain of the function. And the range of the function matches with cos inverse except for pi by 2 where it is not defined. So when you write the derivative of this function, I am writing the answer directly because I have already done 5 of them. So this will be similar to the previous case. It is 1 by mod x root of x square minus 1 without a minus sign. Earlier you had a minus, now you are just having the plus sign. This is the derivative formula for secant inverse of x. So this is how you can write the derivatives of standard inverse trigonometric functions. So in addition to this, there are other rules like sin inverse sin x and all. Suppose you have a function like sin inverse of sin x. So what is the definition of sin inverse sin x? It is defined as x. So all the proofs are taught in inverse trigonometry. I'll write the direct results. So you can start with minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. For this interval, it is x. And just for constructing, I'll tell you the method. You start with the ending value, add pi. And then again start with the ending value, add pi to this, 3 pi by 2 to 5 pi by 2. Just keep on writing till infinity because the domain of this function, whenever you have sin inverse and sine, so you have two functions, one inside the other. The domain will depend upon the inside function. So x will be r because sine is defined for r. The range will depend on outer function. So sin inverse has a range minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So when you have a function inside a function, the domain will be same as the inside function, range will be same as the outside function. So you can keep on writing the interval till all real numbers. So 5 pi by 2 add pi, you'll get 7 pi by 2 till infinity. And what is the logic in writing? Write x. And you know that sin x is same as sine of pi minus x. So you can write pi minus x. And you can observe when you put this x and x values in this interval, the interval of y will match with this interval. So then only it is correct. Otherwise, the formula is wrong. Similarly, the next one, you know that sine of 2 pi minus x is minus sine x. So it should be actually sine of x minus 2 pi. So you can write x minus 2 pi. Similarly, you'll get 3 pi minus x. Next time you'll get x minus 4 pi and so on. Like this, it continues. The next interval, you can write 7 pi by 2, add pi, it will become 9 pi by 2. You can write till infinity. So you can now observe that when you want to write down the derivative of this kind of functions, the first time derivative is 1, next time minus 1, again 1, again minus 1. So the derivative is alternately plus or minus 1. So in this case, dy by dx will be 1. In the second case, dy by dx is minus 1. So alternately, the derivative is either plus 1 or minus 1. Again 1, again minus 1, etc. So this kind of logic is only used in finding the derivatives of this kind of functions. So when we do the questions, I will explain the other cases also, just like I showed for sine inverse sin x. Wherever required, I will show in the questions. Because already you guys have learned this in inverse trigonometry chapter. So while doing a question, wherever it is relevant, I'll just show that. So now let us start with the first question. If y is equal to tan inverse of square root of 1 plus cos x by 1 minus cos x, where x is between 0 to pi, then you need to find out the value of dy by dx. The options are minus 1 by 2, 0, 1 and minus 1. These are the options. So let's see how we can solve this kind of problems, and wherever required, I'll also give you the corresponding inverse trigonometry formula while solving itself. Like I discussed just now one formula. So there can be many formulas like this which can be used like cos inverse cos or tan inverse tan. So wherever I do a problem, there itself I'll give you the corresponding formulas. So let me start with this. So before you find the derivative, the question can be made a little bit simple by simplifying the value which is inside tan inverse. So y is equal to tan inverse of something. So usually because you have tan inverse, it would be better if you can convert the value inside in terms of tan. So let us use some trigonometry formulas, and we'll first write 1 plus cos x as 2 cos square x by 2 and 1 minus cos x as 2 sin square x by 2. So let us use this formula, and you can cancel 2 from here, and also you can write under root of cos square by sin square is cot square, and you have a root, so root of cot square. And remember, whenever you cancel a root and square, you cannot cancel them directly. You always have to put a modulus. Now, whether you have to write the mod with a plus or minus, that all depends on x. So x is 0 to pi, so x by 2 is 0 to pi by 2, which is quadrant 1. So if it is quadrant 1, so in first quadrant, cot is positive only. So you can therefore say you can write y is equal to tan inverse of cot x by 2. Because it is first quadrant, cot is positive. Now to simplify this further, we got y equal to tan inverse of cot x by 2. So we can convert the value which is inside, or we can also convert the value which is outside. We know that tan inverse x can be written as, so we have a property that tan inverse x is equal to pi by 2 minus cot inverse x. So if you are applying this property, you can write this as pi by 2 minus cot inverse of cot x by 2. And we already have x is between 0 to pi. So x by 2 is between 0 to pi by 2. And now to simplify this, we have a property that if it is cot inverse of cot x, what is the formula basically? You can write it as x whenever x is between 0 to pi. This is the formula that we have learnt in inverse trigonometry. So if the angle is in the interval 0 to pi, this will apply. So here, because anyway the angle is in that same interval, a subset of that, you can apply that and directly write cot inverse of cot x by 2 as x itself. That is x by 2 in this case. So once you get that, if you differentiate, what do you get? This implies dy by dx equal to, since pi by 2 is a constant, it will have a derivative 0, minus x by 2 will have a derivative 1 by 2. So your answer is therefore minus half. So the correct answer is therefore choice A. So to do these questions, you should be thorough with inverse trigonometry formulas. So as and when required, whenever I do problem, I'll give you, but you always revise inverse trigonometry formulas before you do this. Now let me give you the next question, second one. If y is equal to tan inverse of log of e by x square divided by log of ex square plus tan inverse of 3 plus 2 log x divided by 1 minus 6 log x. So this is given to you. You need to find out the second derivative d square y by dx square. You need to find this. The options are 2, 1, 0 and minus 1. So before you do this question, I'll give you one formula. So we have tan inverse of x minus tan inverse y. The formula for this is tan inverse of x minus y by 1 plus xy. So usually this formula is valid when x and y both are positive, or both are negative. So this is valid when xy positive or x and y both are negative. This is one formula required to do this. And let me write the other formula also which is required. If it is tan inverse x plus tan inverse y. So usually if they give a condition, we take according to that. If they don't give anything, we will choose the first case. The first case is tan inverse x plus y by 1 minus xy. And this is valid if x and y are positive and x into y is less than 1. And you can write this as pi plus tan inverse x plus y by 1 minus xy. When x is positive, y is positive and xy is greater than 1. And finally, you can write the answer as pi by 2 when x and y are positive and x into y is equal to 1. So these formulas are helpful. When they don't mention any interval in the question, we can take the first case. This case can be considered while solving the question. So let us make use of both the formulas and do it. Now, so y is equal to tan inverse of, we had e by x square. Log is there. So log of e by x square is log e minus log x square, because log of m by n is log m minus log n. And for denominator, log mn is log m plus log n. So you can split like this using logarithm property first. In the second function, you have tan inverse of 3 plus 2 log x divided by 1 minus, you have 6 log x, which you can write 3 into 2 log x. So now this is same as tan inverse of log e is nothing but log e base c, which is 1. So 1 minus log of x square is 2 log x. So 1 minus 2 log x divided by 1 plus 2 log x you got here. In the second one, it is like tan inverse x plus y by 1 minus xy, no interval specified. You can take the first case directly, tan inverse x plus tan inverse y. So tan inverse 3 plus tan inverse 2 log x. And similarly, if you look at the first one, it is looking like tan inverse x minus y by 1 plus xy, because you can write into 1 here. So you can split this as tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. So tan inverse 1 minus tan inverse 2 log x. And the rest of the two terms you write as it is, that is plus tan inverse 3 plus tan inverse 2 log x. So once you write this, you can see there is a similar term, one with minus, the other with plus, they will cancel out. And you'll be left out with a constant. Tan inverse 1 plus tan inverse 3 is some constant. So dy by dx of a constant will be equal to 0. And of course, if first derivative is 0, if you differentiate again, d square by dx square is also 0. So you can therefore mark your answer as choice C. So the question is not difficult, but without knowing this inverse trigonometry formulas, you will not be able to solve it. Now let's go for the next question. If y is equal to cot inverse of square root of 1 plus sin x plus square root of 1 minus sin x divided by root of 1 plus sin x minus root of 1 minus sin x, then what is dy by dx? First option is 1 by 2, second option is 2 by 3, third option is 3, and fourth option is 1. So before you solve this, we can first write, suppose if there is 1 plus sin x under root, it will be easy to evaluate square root if you make it a perfect square. So I'll write some result you can remember as a standard result. So what we can do is sin x can be written in half angles. So write 1 in half angles as cos square x by 2 plus sin square x by 2. And you can also write sin x as 2 sin x by 2 cos x by 2. So now it is of the form a square plus b square plus 2ab, a plus b whole square. So cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2 whole square. So that is 1 plus sin x. In the same manner, if it is 1 minus sin x, you will get the same result with a minus sign. So if it is 1 minus sin x, you will be getting cos x by 2 minus sin x by 2 whole square in a similar way. So if you have to find their square roots, we don't know whether the quantity is positive or negative. So if you are writing the square root, the first one you can write with a modulus of cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2. So that based on the value inside, you can open the mod with plus or minus. And similarly, this is cos x by 2 minus sin x by 2. So here no interval is specified in the question. So we can take any case. Let me take the positive case and do it. But usually they have to mention. If they have not mentioned, take the positive case. So y is equal to cot inverse of, you have the sum of these two in numerator. If you take positive, let me take this as positive. For example, if I take cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2 here and cos x by 2 minus sin x by 2, assuming positive. Since they have not mentioned interval, I'm taking one of the cases. So when you add these two, you'll get 2 cos x by 2. And when you subtract these two, you'll be getting 2 sin x by 2. That was our numerator and denominator. So this will actually become cot inverse of cot x by 2. Again, even to cancel cot inverse and cot, they should have specified x. If nothing is specified, we take it for granted and cancel it. So x by 2, y is x by 2. So that means dy by dx is therefore equal to 1 by 2. So that is choice A is the correct answer. So this is quite simple provided you know these formulas. Okay. So let me just write it properly here. Now let us go to the next question, the fourth one. If y is equal to secant of tan inverse x, then dy by dx at x equal to 1 is. So let me give the options also. 1 by root 2, minus 1 by root 2, 1 and none of these. So this question is quite simple. You want the derivative at x equal to 1. So remember, when they ask derivative at a point, after differentiation we'll substitute. Don't substitute before differentiation. That you have to always remember. So y equal to secant of tan inverse x, you have to simplify this. What we can do, just make a small triangle and mark alpha. Suppose if you write this as some secant alpha, that is I took tan inverse x equal to alpha, that means tan alpha is x. X is x by 1, so opposite is x, adjacent is 1. By Pythagoras theorem, you have root of 1 plus x square here. So if secant alpha is to be found, how do you write secant alpha from the diagram? Hypotenuse by adjacent by 1. So root of 1 plus x square is the value of y. So it is very simple function now. You can easily differentiate. We know the differentiation for root x is 1 by 2 root x. So 1 by 2 root 1 plus x square. Further, we differentiate 1 plus x square, you'll be getting 2x. So 2 also cancels. You get the answer as x by root of 1 plus x square. So the derivative at 1, if you want, put x equal to 1, the answer will be 1 by root 2. So this is nothing but choice A is the correct answer. So this was too simple compared to previous questions. Okay. Now let me discuss one more question. If y is equal to tan inverse of 2 to the power of x divided by 1 plus 2 power 2x plus 1, then you need to find out dy by dx at x equal to 0. So again, the options are 1, 2, ln2 and none of these. So already I have given one formula for tan inverse of something. So I'll just show what is being used here. Like tan inverse of x plus tan inverse y and tan inverse x minus tan inverse y, both formulas I've given. Let's see which will work here. So the question is y equal to tan inverse of 2 power x divided by 1 plus 2 power 2x plus 1. Let's see how you can manipulate this before you differentiate. We can write this as tan inverse 2 power x divided by. In the denominator, you can split this as 2 power x into 2 power x plus 1. You know that a power m into a power n is a power m plus n. So split like this. And in the numerator, we just had 2 power x. And if I write into 1, it's not affected. So what I will do, I'll write that 1 as 2 minus 1. So just write that 1 as 2 minus 1. And just open the brackets, it will give you tan inverse of 2 power x into 2, 2 power x plus 1 minus 2 power x into 1, that is 2 power x divided by 1 plus 2 power x into 2 power x plus 1. So this looks similar to tan inverse x minus y by 1 plus xy, which is tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. So we can write y equal to tan inverse of 2 power x plus 1 minus tan inverse of 2 power x. That is our y. And what are we supposed to find? The derivative at 0, x equal to 0. So let us find it. So when we have y equal to tan inverse of 2 power x plus 1 minus tan inverse 2 power x. So if you have to write the derivative dy by dx, you know the differentiation formula for tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square. So 1 by 1 plus 2 power x plus 1 whole square we can write into differentiation of 2 power x plus 1. So in 2 power x plus 1, you can write 2 outside. 2 power x derivative is 2 power x ln 2 because derivative of a power x is a power x log a. Similarly, for tan inverse, again 1 by 1 plus x square, that is 2 power x whole square multiplied with derivative of 2 power x is again 2 power x into ln 2. Now, once you wrote dy by dx, you wanted the value at x equal to 0. So dy by dx at x equal to 0, if I want, this will give you 2 into, so what do you get? 2 into 2 power 0 is 1 ln 2 by 1 plus here 2 power 0 plus 1. So it will become 2 power 1 whole square minus 1 by 1 plus again 2 power 0 is 1 square. In the numerator, we have 2 power 0 1 into ln 2. So this is 2 ln 2 divided by 5 minus ln 2 divided by 2. So when you simplify this, LCM will be 10. You will get 2 multiplied here, 5 multiplied, 4 ln 2 minus 5 ln 2. So minus ln 2 by 10. So you can see none of the options matches here. So none of this is the answer. That is choice D is the correct answer for this problem. So choice D is the correct answer. So let us take up the next question. Question number 6. If y is equal to cos inverse of 5 cos x minus 12 sin x by 13, this is given, where x belongs to 0 to pi by 2, then you have to find out dy by dx. So let me give the options also. Options are 1, minus 1, 0 and none of these. So actually, because you have cos inverse outside, it would be simple if you make the function inside in terms of cos, convert the function inside in terms of cos. So for that, what we can do here is, we have cos inverse of 5 by 13 cos x. So 5 by 13 is some number less than 1. So definitely it can be cos of some angle, because cos value lies between minus 1 to 1. You can assume that as cos of some angle. Similarly, 12 by 13 is also some number between minus 1 to 1 only, and you can assume that as sine. So suppose if I consider cos alpha equal to some 5 by 13 and sine alpha will be 12 by 13. So you can carefully check sine square plus cos square is 1 is tallying. So it's correct. So you can write this as y equal to cos inverse of cos alpha cos x minus sine alpha sine x. And we know the formula that cos A cos B minus sin A sin B is cos A plus B. So you can write cos of alpha plus x. And now they have already given us some interval of x. What is that interval of x? 0 to pi by 2 is the interval of x given. And you can clearly see that your alpha is also in that interval only, because you see that cos alpha, sin alpha, these values both are positive. So you can take first quadrant. So tan alpha will be around 12 by 5 and that will be first quadrant only. So adding this, you can say x plus alpha lies between 0 to pi. So that is also 0 to pi by 2. So if it is 0 to pi, we have a formula that cos inverse cos x will be equal to x whenever x is 0 to pi. In inverse trigonometry, we have the result. So we don't require the other cases. This is enough. So that is the reason I checked it, because if I cancel cos inverse and cos, can I write alpha plus x or not? That I verified. So I can write alpha plus x directly, where alpha is anyway a constant only. If you want to write, you can write alpha from here as say cos inverse 5 by 13 plus x, which is anyway constant. So when you differentiate this, you'll get dy by dx equal to cos inverse will have a derivative of 0 because there is a constant, x will have a derivative of 1. So answer is 1. That is choice A is the correct answer. So this is also a question which is quite simple. Now let me do the next question, seventh one. If sine inverse of x square minus y square divided by x square plus y square is log A, base E, you can say nothing is given, you can take base E, then you need to find out the value of dy by dx. So the options are x by y by x square. The third option is x square minus y square by x square plus y square. And last option is y by x. So these are the options. So let's see how we can do. So usually the question can become simple when the inverse function is brought to the RHS. So I'll write this as x square minus y square by x square plus y square equal to sine of log a, which is a constant. And to make it simple, I'll assume this as some k, for example. Apply componendo and dividendo. So what is componendo dividendo property? If two ratios are equal, if a by b equal to c by d, a minus b by a plus b equal to c minus d by c plus d. So this is called property of componendo and dividendo. So I'll call it as componendo and dividendo. So once you know the property, this is k means k by 1, you can just apply this and say a minus b means you have to subtract numerator and denominator. If you do that here, if you subtract numerator and denominator, you'll get minus 2y square. If you add them, you'll get 2x square. Similarly, in RHS, if you subtract, you'll get k minus 1 by k plus 1. So this 2 also cancels out and you'll be getting y square by x square equal to, write that minus sign in the RHS, you can write 1 minus k by 1 plus k, which is a constant anyway. So y square is equal to this. So now if you differentiate this, you get 2y into dy by dx equal to 1 minus k by 1 plus k is a constant. Write that as it is, and x square has a derivative 2x. Again, you cancel this 2, you'll get dy by dx equal to x by y into 1 minus k by 1 plus k. And you already know that 1 minus k by 1 plus k from here is y square by x square. So you can write x by y into y square by x square. And if you cancel this, y will remain in numerator, x will remain in denominator. So you get the answer as y by x, and that is nothing but choice D. So the correct answer for this question is choice D. So even this is a simple question. Then let us take up the 8th question. If y is equal to cos inverse of cos x, then you need to find out the value of dy by dx at x equal to 5 pi by 4. So this value is important because based on that only we'll apply the formula for this. Options are 1, minus 1, 1 by root 2 and none of these. So let's see how we can do. This is again a simple question. If it is cos inverse of cos x, what is the definition of this? It will be x whenever x is 0 to pi. And to construct the interval here, we have a method. Next interval, you will start with the ending value and add the gap pi. Next time, you'll be starting with the ending value, add the gap pi, it will become 2 pi to 3 pi and so on. Then you know that cos x is same as cos of 2 pi minus x. So this will be 2 pi minus x. And also same as cos of x minus 2 pi, this will be x minus 2 pi. So I'm not telling you how you got these formulas because already it is done in inverse trigonometry. And when we do inverse, I'll explain it if you require. I'm writing direct formula. So when I want pi by 4 is in which interval? 5 pi by 4, sorry. 5 pi by 4 is in this interval. So 5 pi by 4 belongs to which interval? Pi to 2 pi. So therefore, the function should be taken as 2 pi minus x. And if that is 2 pi minus x, what is our derivative? Dy by dx equal to, for 2 pi differentiation is 0. And for x differentiation is 1. So you'll get dy by dx equal to minus 1. So therefore, the correct answer is choice B. So choice B is the correct answer. So even this was a simple problem. So let me take up the 9th question. If y is equal to tan inverse of square root of x plus 1 by x minus 1, you need to find out dy by dx. So let me write the options. Minus 1 by 2 mod x into root of x square minus 1. Then minus 1 by 2x root of x square minus 1. Then we have 1 by 2x root x square minus 1. And last option is none of these. So let us see which one of them is going to work out. So consider y is equal to tan inverse of root of x plus 1 by x minus 1. So we can try using a substitution, but without that also it works. So let us do without that. So dy by dx equal to, we know the differentiation of tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square. So 1 by 1 plus, when you square this term, it will give you x plus 1 by x minus 1. And after tan inverse is done, you have to write the derivative of root of x plus 1 by x minus 1. So this is same as after taking LCM, you will get here x minus 1 goes to numerator, and here you will get x minus 1 plus x plus 1, that is 2x. Into root, we know derivative is 1 by 2 root x. So 1 by 2 root of x plus 1 by x minus 1 we should write. Again, in the remaining, you have to differentiate even x plus 1 by x minus 1 using the quotient rule. So you can write this as this 4x will be there in denominator. This x minus 1 in root, you can bring it to numerator. So we can also write that as x minus 1 into root of x minus 1 by 2x into root x plus 1. And further, you can apply quotient rule for this. So denominator into differentiation of numerator, which is x plus 1 as a derivative 1, minus numerator into derivative of denominator, which is 1 by square of denominator. So let us simplify this now. So we have x minus 1 into root of, what do you have? X minus 1 by 2x root x plus 1. We have this multiplied with what is the other term. So when you simplify, you have x minus 1 minus x minus 1. So x and minus x will cancel. You have minus 2 by x minus 1 whole square left out. Out of this 1 x minus 1 term, this 2 can be cancelled, 1 x minus 1 can be cancelled. So minus of, we'll have root x minus 1, I'll write as it is. And x root x plus 1 also as it is. And we have 1 x minus 1 cancelled out. So again, this is same as minus of, if you cancel these two, you'll get x root x plus 1 into root x minus 1. So you can write the answer as minus 1 by x root x square minus 1. So is 2 there or cancel? Let me check. So there is one more 2 already here. So it is 4 here. So therefore 1, 2 will be still remaining. After cancelling that also another 2 is there. So in the answer, we'll be having minus 1 by 2x root of x square minus 1. So the correct answer is therefore choice B. But once again, all of you verify with the other method of substitution whether A is the answer or B is the answer. I got B with this method. You can also just check with substitution of x, some value like secant theta or cos theta, it works. You can try that. Next is question number 10. D by dx of tan inverse of root x into 3 minus x divided by 1 minus 3x. So let me write the options. 1 by 2 times 1 plus x root x, 3 by 1 plus x root x, 2 by 1 plus x into root x, and let me write the last option, 3 by 2 into 1 plus x. So let's see how you can solve this. So the question is d by dx of tan inverse of root x into 3 minus x divided by 1 minus 3x. So this will work better with a substitution because we have a formula for tan 3 theta. So we can work out using that. Suppose you put x equal to tan square theta. Then you can write this as d by dx of tan inverse of root x. You can write tan theta into inside you have 3 minus tan square by 1 minus 3 tan square. So that is also same as d by dx of tan inverse of, if you bring the tan function inside, it is 3 tan theta minus tan cube divided by 1 minus 3 tan square theta. And this is actually the formula of tan 3 theta. So you can write this as d by dx of tan inverse of tan 3 theta. So usually to cancel tan inverse and tan, some interval must be specified. If they don't give, you can take it for granted and cancel it. They will give you d by dx of 3 theta. But actually, what is the variable here? X. So change theta in x. So you can say that is equivalent to writing d by dx of 3 theta is nothing but 3 into tan inverse of root x. Because x is tan square, theta is tan inverse root x. So if you differentiate, 3 will come out. Tan inverse will have a derivative 1 by 1 plus x square. So 1 by 1 plus root x whole square is x. Multiplied with root x will have a derivative 1 by 2 root x. So we have 3 by 1 plus x into 2 root x. That is the answer. So I think in the options that 2 was missing. Actually, some root x also must be there. So this will become the answer in that case. So option D is the correct answer. So these are all the problems under derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. So we can conclude the session with these problems. And in the next class, we are going to start with our next topic, that is parametric differentiation. Okay, guys, I hope all of you like the class and you can watch it once or twice so that you can follow it properly. Okay, because inverse trigonometry, slightly it is a bit tough, as if you know the formulas, it is easy. Otherwise, it is a little bit tough. Okay. So bye all of you.